Good morning. I'm Dickie Somperak. I'm president of Knoxville Catholic High School, and I'm here this morning with about 40 of our students who had the privilege of attending the papal visit to Philadelphia a couple of weeks back. So Bishop Stika is here, and he wants to talk to you guys about your experience of visiting and getting to see the Pope and just what that experience meant to you. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our bishop, Bishop Stika. Please come forward.
Well, So, when did you leave to go to see the Pope when he went to Philadelphia? Let's see. What day was it? Friday. And the Pope, you saw the Pope on Saturday and Sunday? Were you all at the concert too? That big activity? No? Oh, you saw it in the Jumbo? It was pretty cool, huh? Yeah, to see Aretha Franklin. I don't know. Did you know who she was before? Yeah, she's cool. She's cool. Anyway, what I thought, this was kind of my idea because I thought you actually went to Mass on that Sunday with about 900,000 people. So it was kind of a spectacular event. So, I mean, all those different activities and the press coverage. I saw the Pope when he was in Washington. So I was at the meeting he had with all the bishops and also at the canonization of a new saint. And then I came back to Knoxville. So I watched it on TV, the rest of the activities, and it was probably the best publicity for the Catholic Church that you could imagine. But also it was just interesting to see the Pope interact with people in D.C., at the Capitol, at the White House, when he went to New York, Madison Square Garden. But you actually were at the activities in Philadelphia. And so I thought, that's why I thought this would be a good idea for you to kind of share activities. How close did you actually get to the Pope? Anybody get close with? With the Pope mobile, what did you think when you saw him? Because you see him on TV. He's probably the most recognized guy in the world, huh? So what did you think when you got close? Did you get caught up in the activity, or were you like texting on your phone? Because when I was in Washington, I was sitting at the end of a pew, and with a friend of mine, Bishop Ed Rice. And so all the bishops are all pulling out their phones, you know. So in the old days when the Pope would walk by, you would actually pay attention to him, or anybody, a celebrity. But we all had our phones out. We were paying more attention trying to get a good photograph of the Pope than watching the Pope walk by, you know. So for like you, what was the experience like when you saw him up close? I got a hand off. This is your moment.
Where do I begin?
At the beginning.
Well, well, me and a couple of friends, we were reserving a fence right outside the church because there was no one around there because they were all lined up around the street. And so a Pope mobile pulled in, and he was right there in front of us. And I'm like, oh my God, he's real. I didn't like.
It wasn't a cutout of it.
Yeah, it wasn't like a picture or something you see on TV. He was like actually there, like 10 feet in front of me. So when you see something in real life, it's more amazing and more real than you would see like in a picture book or on TV, because it's real. Like I've said that 5 times. But okay.
Anybody else want to kick in? Yes, ma'am.
A group of us girls, like 5 of us,
Is that a Notre Dame sweatshirt?
Yeah, but it's a college.
But you go to, okay.
It's not
You gotta be careful.
I know. We were standing, like we had reserved just like literally for 2 people, and we were trying to fit 5 in there.
Yeah.
In front, like on the fence, and we were standing there for 5 hours.
5 hours?
Yeah,
huh?
just like we didn't sit down. We were just standing, and then they kept telling us it was like he's gonna come at 4:30. No, he's gonna come at 5:30. He's gonna come at 6, and it finally ended up being like 7:30. And we were exhausted. All we wanted to do was just like go like lay down or something. But he came by, and it was like the most amazing thing ever. Because like being like growing up in a Catholic church is like every kid's dream, a Catholic kid at least.
To see the Pope. Anybody else? How about one of the guys? We need a guy opinions. What do you think? Who wants to kick in? It's your moment. I'll throw this mic at one of you, and you're going to have to say it anyway. You want to kick in? Oh, come on. All right, God bless you. You get the rest. I think you should have the rest of the day off then.
It was really cool, like especially the second day when he came back by, because I didn't really realize he was coming. So like I ran and I climbed like a giant light pole thing to get a video of him.
You shimmied up the light pole?
Yeah, I did.
You know you have to
it's-
shimmy down
It
then.
was really and it hurt, but but it was really crazy once I got up there to see all the people too that were like trying to get a glimpse of him, and then he made like a little stop to bless the Our Lady Entire of Knots shrine.
Oh yeah.
And so that was really cool to see.
So you're right outside by the cathedral, huh?
Yes.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Yeah, like Alex said, it was really cool, like seeing him like stop and bless the Our Lady Entire of Knots like grotto,
Mhm.
because some of my friends and I, we were like right there, so we were really close, and we didn't really expect to be that close. So it was really cool because like, especially we didn't know. So
So it was real spontaneous.
yeah.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
On Saturday, it was super late, like Cameron said, and we were all just like so ready to see the Pope and just ready to, get our video and just go and eat. But at least I was really hungry. But so I was super caught up in the like getting my video and getting the photo of the Pope. But then on Sunday when he came by for the second time, we were all just like sitting and waiting for the mass, and all of a sudden we hear the motorcycles and the Pope mobile comes through, and we're just like, oh my gosh, like it's the Pope. And so I get up and I run up onto this bench, and there's a bunch of these Polish women who did not speak English, and the Pope drove by, and we're all sitting there just like crying and hugging, and I had no idea why I was even crying. I guess it was just like the experience of seeing someone that amazing and that holy. But it just really gave me a sense of like what it means to be Catholic, like that universal like love and acceptance that we all have, and it was just a really neat experience just to be with those women and like see the Pope together.
Mhm.
I don't know, it's cool.
It's kind of the universal language of being attracted to someone who seems to be very holy, huh?
It was neat.
It speaks for a lot of people that no one else speaks for.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay. If you had a chance to go, huh?
You're already mic'd.
Oh, I'm already mic'd. See? Oh, okay. She's my stagehand or stuff. If you had 10 minutes with the Pope, just one-on-one, like you're like the President of the United States, the head of the United Nations, or anybody, what would be the questions you would ask him besides, what's your favorite color? What kind of questions would you ask the Pope? I mean, here's a guy. Do you remember when he was elected? Now, you figure like 2 days before, they say he was at the Borgo Pio, which is a place outside of St. Peter's where you buy rosaries and all these religious things. And they said he had shopping bags full of stuff because he thought he was going to go back to Argentina. And then he goes into the election as Cardinal Bergoglio, the Archbishop of Buenos Aires. And 2 days later, he comes out on the balcony. The entire world is watching him. In this world of everything that's so modern, like everybody texts and tweets and all that, the entire world was watching this little chimney sticking out of the roof of the chapel, trying to figure out if it was white smoke or black smoke, With all the devices we have, and I remember the news commentators were saying, is it black, is it white? Oh, it's gray! We don't know what gray smoke means, And then he gets elected Pope, and he comes out and before the entire world, and he's no longer Cardinal Bergoglio, he's Francis. And now the entire world, when you see Francis says this, or Francis says that, they all know it's him, huh? So if you had 10 minutes, 15 minutes with the Pope, what would you say? What would be a question you would like to ask, besides what's your favorite color?
I would really want to know about like his spiritual journey, because we all think like, he is the leader of our Catholic faith. So I would want to know like how he got to be the leader of our Catholic faith.
He would probably ask the same question of himself, huh? How did I
Probably.
get here? That would be a good question. Somebody else? Yeah.
I want to know like what a day in the life of the Pope looks like, what he does like every day, like just like what it's like to be the Pope.
What it's like to be Pope?
Yeah, like
So he
what
puts
does
on
he
his
do?
white cassock every
Yeah,
morning.
like what does he do after he like every day. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he does like popely things, but what all does that?
It's just popey things.
Like, what?
What's on my schedule today? Holy Father, you have 3 popey things. That we're going, and one's to meet this president, one's to meet that president, and the
Just,
third,
like, what all that entails, I
yeah,
guess.
what it entails.
Yeah.
Because you know how big the Catholic Church is? It's 1,300,000,000 people.
Yeah.
With a bunch of bishops like myself running around trying to mess things up. So it's like, stop that. Yeah. What would you like? What do you think he does every day?
Says mass.
Says mass.
I think. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he goes out and sees all the people
Yeah.
because he loves people.
He loves, yeah, and that's real evident, huh? When you see him interact.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who else? What else would you ask? Look at that. They beat you to it. We got an organized team here. What would you ask?
I'd probably ask him if he ever thought about what if he became a pope, like before he was even a cardinal. Like
Yeah.
if he ever thought about what it would be like to be pope.
They always say if you talk to cardinals, like Cardinal Regali, now he wasn't in the contention for running, but they don't want the job. I mean, just think, you know, like the president, to run for president, whoever's going to run, it's going to be each side, Democrats and Republicans, will spend about $1 billion each trying to get elected president for a job that makes $400,000 plus. You get a nice plane and a house, you know. Whereas with the Pope and stuff, they don't campaign. They're not allowed to campaign. It's forbidden, you know. And it must be an interesting. It must blow your mind when all of a sudden, you know, they ask you 2 questions after you're elected, 2/3 plus 1. Do you accept? And as soon as you say yes, I accept, you're Pope. Nothing else happens. That's just that yes. And the second is what name you have to be. What name do you wish to be called? Now just think if you're just sitting there and all of a sudden you hear Bergoglio, Bergoglio as they read the ballots. All of a sudden one of the most important questions besides saying yes or no is the name they're going to call you for all of history for the, you know, what name do you want to be called? Well, I don't know. Call me Herbert. You know, it's like, but Francis was an appropriate name, huh? You know, because he's got that spirituality and such. How about somebody else?
Like what was going through his head when he first found out that he was like going to be the Pope, and like what the first thing he did was, like as he became Pope. And then I'd probably go to him for confession because like
You go to confession?
yeah. Like that'd be pretty cool.
The whole world would think, I wonder what she did. You know, she's going to the Pope, you know.
Well, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
If I had the chance to, I would.
You know, right after he was elected, he actually, or I think it was the Lent after he was elected. So he was elected in March, maybe 4 or 5. He actually, in St. Peter's, they hear confessions all during the day in all kinds of different languages. And he went to a priest for confession. Can you imagine being the priest sitting there and all of a sudden you look and there's the Pope? Well, what kind of penance should I give him? You should give me the Vatican. You know? Yeah. Okay, anybody else? Yeah, over there, there's somebody. We got a heck of a team here.
I guess for me, I would ask, like, we always think of the Pope as this amazing person, which he is, but before he was the Pope, he was a normal person like us. He grew up in a family with a mom and a dad, and, you know, he became a priest, a bishop, cardinal. Like, I would ask him what it was like to grow up, like, what kind of spiritual journey he had when he was our age.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he had to grow up too. It wasn't just one day he was born and he was the Pope. So I feel like I would ask him, like, how did his life bring him to a spiritual vocation like the Pope, being the Pope?
You know, there's an old saying that, you know, as they're getting ready to elect the Pope, he who enters the conclave as a Pope leaves as a cardinal. You know what that means? It's like if you think you're going to be elected, and then you come out, you're not elected, you know? Because I remember talking to Cardinal Regali and Cardinal Dolan, and Cardinal Dolan said that they did not elect the Pope. They just validated who the Holy Spirit chose. But he said the amazing thing about that was the entire world was praying for the cardinals to elect the right person. Because, you know, the Pope kind of speaks for Christianity, whether you're a Baptist or a Catholic or Orthodox. he's the central figure of Christianity, and so they believe, that we believe as a church that it's God who chooses the particular person, and so that's what's very important. Anybody else? Now this is going to be where the work comes in. What advice would you give the Pope, given all the complexities? Like, wear a dark suit, don't wear white all the time, huh? All the complexities of the world. You look, he's a head of state. He's the one who got the United States and Cuba to start talking more. They say he was the guy who brought it in. It's just like St. John Paul was the one who a lot of historians will say brought down communism, because he released, all this positive thing about how a radical change had to happen. But you look at the United States, we're talking about immigration, we're talking about same-sex marriage, we're talking about just a variety of issues. And then you look at the Middle East, and you got what's going on in Syria, the horrific things in Syria, and you got Iraq, and you got Iran, and you got Europe, and you got a world that's got the economies are ready to fall apart. You got this intense poverty in places. So, and the Pope has the bully pulpit, as they say. What advice would you give the Pope as how old are you? 17, 16? 16, 17, 18? Anybody here 25? You didn't study enough, I guess. But what advice would you give the Pope? I mean, because, the Pope, right now there's the synod going on in Rome, and he's getting advice from cardinals and bishops and lay people from around the world to talk about the family, which is one of the things that are very challenged in our country, maybe not in so many other places in the world. But what advice would you give them as members of the church? You're not the church of the future, you're the church of today. Your opinion is just as valuable as anybody's. What advice would you like to, or what would you like him to bring up to the world? Dun, 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 dun. Well, okay, I'm Pope. Hey, I'm Pope Francis. I need advice. That's exactly how he would probably say. If he wanted advice. You're a person, huh? You know what's going on in the world?
You say something.
You think about it.
I think that, like, in society nowadays, there are so many misconceptions about the Catholic Church, and that they're like, it's like this. There's so many rules, so many, like, you have to be this perfect, like, person, and obviously it's not like that. And so I think he could address that to people who aren't Catholic, and even to people who are Catholic who are struggling with that. Like, it's really not just straight rules and, like, so hard to be Catholic.
Anybody else? Want to kick in? What do you think over here? This is the quiet section over here. What advice would you give the Pope? Because, in fact, I'm going to Rome next week I'm actually going to a wedding. And next Wednesday, I'm actually going to see the Pope. He's going to bless the cornerstone for the cathedral, and I'll have a chance to talk to him. And I stay where the Pope lives. So I see the Pope at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you bump into him in this building at the Doma Santa Marta. So if I was going over there and I say, I met with a bunch of wonderful individuals from Knoxville Catholic, and Holy Father, they want you to know this about what they want in the church. So I'm going to have the opportunity, and he might punch me or something, or say, oh, that's a great idea. Well, what do you think I should tell him? Because this is real.
I tell him to stay.
Stay home?
No, to stay him. Like, to stay. I think he has, like, a lot of really good ideas, and, like, he knows what he's doing. Like, does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say for him to, like, stick with what he thinks is best. Does that make sense?
Sure, I'd probably praise about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so stick with Jesus.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
That's a good thing for a Pope to do.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Rebecca.
I'd really like him to, like, get to know the teens in the church, because I think teens are really important since they're, like, the future of the church. So I'd really like to see, like, what he could do to call, like, teens to holiness and start different, like, programs in the church for teens.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you on one thing. You're not the future of the church. You're the church of today.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be taking on future leadership roles and stuff, but you're church. You've been churched, bud. You have the mark of Jesus, as they say. Who else? You're gonna be exhausted by the end of the day. Anybody else? So you're happy with the way everything is in the church? Silence is an answer, huh? Yeah. She's jumping into the fray. This is better than Jerry Springer, huh? Is he still on TV? No.
Okay, sorry. I guess for me, like, something that I struggle with in the church is like, oh shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Is your memory loss, huh?
Oh yeah, the whole like sexuality in people today and adolescents and stuff. I feel like, the world's changing, and sometimes it's hard for the the older generations to
Like me?
to understand sometimes like what we're going through and like how we feel. I'm not saying that, it's gay marriage is okay or it's wrong. I'm just bringing up a point that it's like a lot of people struggle with what they should do about it. So, I don't know, just bringing that up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like the Pope said, they asked him that question about same-sex marriage or more homosexuality and stuff. And he said, if they're living good lives, who am I to judge? And then he got misquoted and like, who am I to judge on anything, But I mean, the world is a very complex world, and you can't hide your head in the sand because everybody's going to be affected in one way or another. And that's why I think it's good in your classes at Knoxville Catholic or in your discussions, to talk about these issues, and because it is a very complicated world and stuff. And if you don't talk about it, you won't have that understanding of it. So, Anybody else? Yeah. We should just pass the mic around.
Yeah.
Probably work better. Otherwise, you'll be exhausted too. Yeah.
I would tell him to stay firm, no matter what kind of pressure is put on him.
Stay what?
Stay firm,
Oh.
with what he knows is true and right, because he's the rock that we have to build our church.
Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Yeah. Good. Anybody else? Okay. Well, how about if I carry this message to the Pope? Because I am going to talk to him briefly, but I will say that the people of the Diocese of Knoxville, but in particular the young adults who attended the papal mass and all that, send them their best and their love. And remember, the Pope had this extraordinary thing. He said, I think outside the Congress, he said, please, he always says this, and it's funny, because Pope Benedict said the same thing to me at the end of a conversation I had with him. Please pray for me. You think the Pope has all these prayers, which he does, but he really wants people to pray for him. And he said, even if you're a non-believer, please wish me good luck. And I thought it was extraordinary, because a lot of times popes would not acknowledge the fact that they're non-believers and stuff. But to wish him good luck, because he's trying to bring the world together, and have an experience, have people have an experience of joy and the poverty that exists in the world, whether it's a monetary or a financial poverty or just an emptiness of life. He's trying to offer people something that's important, and that gift. So how about if I just carry with me that message? Yeah. I remember, this is a great story. In 1979, I went to a papal mass. First time John Paul went to Chicago, and there were over 1 million people at mass, and I was about 2/3 in the way back. So you couldn't, and they didn't have all this technology with jumbo screens. It was very limited, but we could hear the Pope well. They had a great sound system, But all you saw is like way over there, the Pope. The last time I saw the Pope in the United States, he was sitting on my couch in St. Louis. He had come to St. Louis, and I was in charge of the visit, and I got thrown out of my room, so the Pope was using my rooms. And I thought to myself, first time I saw the Pope, I didn't even see him. And now he's in my room looking at all my family photographs and sitting at my desk and sleeping in my bed. And I just thought, how ironic is that, Because when I was your age, I never thought I would be a priest. I never thought I was going to be a bishop. And I never thought the Pope would be sitting on my couch, It just shows that there are all these opportunities in life that, you know, they always say, if you want to make God, tell him what your plans are for the rest of your life. You know, you have this definite thing of what's going to happen, and then God opens all these doors and all these opportunities and stuff. So you had a real historical opportunity to see the Pope, you know. Who knows, someday he might be, a Pope might be sitting on your couch, you know, and you say, please pass the Great Poupon or something like that, huh? So anyway, I want to thank you. We're going to post this, and thanks for what you do in representing Jesus in the world, huh? Anybody else want to say anything else? Nope. Well, how about if the Pope watches this? Let's do this. Where's the cameras? We all say, hello, Pope. Hello, Pope. We love you, Pope. We love you, Pope. Go Irish. Go Irish. Thanks. Can I get a photo with him?
Absolutely. Y'all stay where you are. We're going to get a photo.
I always do photos. You know, yesterday I went on this thing. Somebody from Knoxville Catholic was there. The honor flight. Honor Air. Yeah, I was with 135 veterans of. Yeah. I was with all these veterans, and it was an amazing thing. How about if I sit? I'll sit right where there's no chair. Can I sit next to you? Yes, sir. Oh, man. I miscalculated. Yeah, I took a shower this morning. Hey, can you use my camera too? Yes. Because. Well, yeah, and then text me. Oh, all over Washington yesterday, there are people, they're poking people in the head with these things. Yeah? I think we got to get both those guys to do some sit-ups, including myself.
We need to do the hello to the Pope. They didn't get all that quite.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put it on our website.
Or actually, is it okay they stay seated? All right. So, hello, Pope. We love you. Go Irish. Let her rip, Bishop.
Oh, thank you. All right. If the Holy Father is watching the diocesan website, we want to send him a message, huh? You know what I might do is I'll bring my phone and say, Pope, please look, you know? So, Holy Father, this is a message from all these people who represent Knoxville Catholic in Knoxville, Tennessee, in the South. We want to wish you the best, and so, go Pope!
Go Pope!
We love you, Holy Father.
We love you, Holy Father.
Give us another day off.
Give us another day off.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.
And please know that we pray for you every day. Thanks, Holy Father. Well, you can say that too. Please, you know, with his name in the old days, for John Paul, they used to sing, John Paul II, we love you. So they would sing it. And I was at a celebration in Rome. Thousands of people were singing, John Paul II, we love you. And then he would go, John Paul II, he love you, as the Pope would say. And then they would go back and forth. And it was like, somebody's at the door. Will you answer that? Jack, since you were late, go answer the door, will you? Yeah, anyway, thanks for doing this.
Thank
All right.
you.
Is this a bye week for football?